Hi, guys, and welcome to Being Back Alive. I feel like this might be the strangest Being Back Alive ever. Because as you can see, I'm sitting outside, and right behind me, there's traffic. And every time a truck goes by, it feels like it's deafening to me. I don't know what it sounds like for you guys. I apologize, but living in the mountains, shit happens, and our internet went out. And so I am at the coffee shack. I am with everybody else in my town who is inside, borrowing our internet so that I can do a live stream. Hey, CV. Hi, Ross. Hi, Joe. So welcome to it. I apologize for the background noise, but at least we're here and not missing it entirely. I'm also feeling very self-conscious, just so that you know, because I feel like, even though it's probably not true, like everyone to my left, which is the space I'm going to turn you guys so you can look at them. So, like, see the window? Okay. So I feel like everyone is looking at me from the window, which is not true. They're all busy with their own shit. And I also feel like at any moment someone's gonna walk up behind me to go in, or someone's gonna leave. I see cars pulling in, and it's freaking me out. So I'm gonna try not to pay attention to it and do the best that I can here for us today, and try not to. Get distracted by all this stuff. So I apologize, you guys. I hope you can make through it. It was either this or nothing today. So got to do that. We have a big event this afternoon here in our little town that we're doing the food truck at. And so as soon as I'm done with you guys, I got to change into my Tony Sammy shirt. And we got to get down into town, and then I'm busy for the rest of the day. So let's get into it. Being Back Alive is our little once a week meeting where we discuss what it's like to be an adult on the spectrum alive right now, not when research catches up or when people feel like giving us supports, but right now, and kind of how we're making through it, and what are some good or better ways that we could get through all of this shit. And so here we are, right? And so I have two things that I want to talk about today. Hey, Bernard. Hey, Burnett. Thank you for joining us. Um, which cloud, Joe? Now I'm going to try to see. I'll try to find it. Maybe it moved already. Okay, anyway. So I have my camera up as high as I can. I hope that's high enough. So anyway, this is going to be like a split Being Back Alive, because I have things I want to talk to you about in terms of updates, but I also have a topic that I want to introduce to you guys. And so both things are going to happen. I'm going to try not to take forever doing them, but I really want to talk about some of it. So first of all, I want to talk about my update. So I know when I talked to you guys on Sunday, I was in a poo mood. I was kind of tired. It had been a whole week and all of that stuff. And I'm not really, really, really like a big fan of, you know, being that cranky tired. And I was really starting to assess things. And if you remember, you guys, I started to talk about how it's really all rooted in the sensory, the exhaustion. It's just all rooted in that. And yeah, so I sort of had that figuring out, whatever. And such is life, because as I was coming through in that thinking pattern, Antonio and I ended up having to have like a little business meeting. So as you know, we invested a huge chunk of anything that we had, leaving us with just about nothing to invest in the coffee shop, right? So that is the thing that we want to be the thing that pays our bills, right? And so I'm over at the vet's office, yes, and I love doing that work, and I really enjoyed it, even though I've had some struggle bus days for sure. Getting used to working for somebody again, getting used to my time belonging to somebody else, and all of that shit. And it's just getting reaccustomed to the sensory challenges all of a sudden again. So it's not been an easy road, but whatever. Still pretty happy. Overall happy there. I just really enjoy the work of it all. Like, I enjoy not being stuck at a computer. I enjoy being around all these different animals. Yesterday, you guys, oh my God, do I have my phone on me? I probably don't. Yesterday we got a hedgehog. I got a freaking hedgehog yesterday. I gotta share it with you. I'm gonna go digging in my purse while I talk to you so I can find my phone. So anyway, yesterday, watch, it's not in here either, although I'm fairly certain I threw it in here. Maybe not. Anyway, we took care of a hedgehog yesterday, and that was amazing ballsies. I was super excited about that, and it was a really interesting thing to kind of get to work on an animal that I've seen in pictures but never had the opportunity to like handle. So yesterday was hedgehogs, chickens. It was a crazy day yesterday, but I do love it a lot. However, that all being said, we have to be realistic, right? And so Antonio and I were looking at the numbers about what's going on here, and thinking about refinancing our mortgage and a couple of other financial things to sort of ease this time right now that feels like struggle bus time. And as we were doing that, we really realized that a lot of the people that work for us are college kids, and they're all going back to school, and they are going to be less available, let's say. And at the same time, Antonio wants to be able to be cooking hot food as many days a week as possible, because that's where the money is coming from right now. So hard as it may be for him to have said it to me, he said, I think I need you to come and help me there. And I have to tell you, you guys, I felt a little relieved. I'm not going to lie. I there are times when I've wanted to quit a job so badly and just couldn't for one reason or another. And instead I got fired, and I've been relieved by it. And so this was a similar feeling, because I was just feeling so worn down and all of this stuff, and so much had been going on. Anyway, so I'm going to be making some shifts again, you guys, because transition never ends, right? And so what I'm going to do, I want to stay at the vet's office because I really do enjoy the work. So what I'm going to do is go down to 2 days there, and I'm going to move from vet teching, which is really it's like you have more responsibility, and you're responsible for doing more of the actual procedures and things like that. And also the doctor relies on you more. You're usually there full time and things like that. So what I said is, instead of me staying on as a tech, if I go down to being a vet assistant, which is something that you can do without certification and all of that stuff, and you help clean and you help hold and other stuff like that, that if I go down to doing that and go down to that pay grade also, then I should be making less enough that I could keep my disability here, so the government money, right? And that being the case, then I can come over here and work at the shack, and he doesn't really, Antonio won't really have to pay me the way he pays everybody else, and we won't have to have as many other employees. So that's what I'm going to be doing going forward. I'm going to be working 1 or 2 days a week only at the vet, and not doing so much heavy tech work, doing less of that and more of just helping out, so I can stay involved. Because, you guys, if things go really well here and we're at a point where I don't need to be here anymore, I would love to have the opportunity to go back. And also, I really like the people there. It's the first time that here in my town I felt like I belonged somewhere. I was happy being sort of like with my solitude, for sure. But we live in a tiny town, and it's nice to, I don't know, have friends, right? Or I don't know if I would use the word friends, but people I know and like to spend time with, I guess. And so I'm going to be doing that. And so you guys will see that shift. It shouldn't really affect anything that we're doing at all, because I think I'm going to be doing that on Saturday for sure. Saturday is my definite day that I'll be over there. So that won't affect us at all. And as long as I am not doing Wednesdays, and I won't ever be doing Sundays because it's closed Sundays, as long as Wednesday is not the day, I won't have to move any of our shit, which is cool. So that is first half of the update on that. And I want to talk to you more about some of my realizations and all of that of going through there. But that is not the topic that I want to talk about today. Today's topic I want to talk about because I had a client who I spoke to last week 2 weeks ago, it's going to be now, who was struggling with this topic. And then I happened to catch, and so I had a conversation with her about it. And then I happened to catch my coach posting about something similar, right? And I thought, wow, this is something we haven't really talked about here. We haven't really discussed kind of this particular topic. And it's something that is it's such a bad habit of autistic people. I mean, everybody does it, but it's such a bad habit of autistic people. And it's almost a trauma response, I want to say. And so because now I think everything's trauma, because that's all I'm reading about right now. I'm trying to figure out my own shit. But anyway, that's how it feels. So let's talk about this a little bit. I'm going to call it self-imposed challenges. Okay. I am, and if the person who is my client is watching, if you're seeing this video, I promise not to give any personal information about you, but you will recognize your story, because I, like, light bulbs went off for me and I thought, oh fuck, now I really, not only do I need to discuss it with you, but now I really need to talk about it with all the other SDLers, because this is important. So we're going to talk about self-imposed challenges. And so maybe there's, or self-imposed barriers, I don't know, maybe that's the better word, but I like self-imposed challenges, because you can surpass these things and you can do them anyway. But it's like, okay, so Jason Mraz has this great song, and he has this one line in it, and he says, if life is one act, why do we lay all these traps? Right? We put them right in our path, he says. And that's true, right? That's what we do. We lay traps for ourselves and we put them right in our path and we fall right into them, and then we go through the misery, right? And they're self-imposed traps. There are some that we fall into that are not self-imposed, but a good chunk of our traps are. So let's talk about that a little bit. So I was discussing with this client about some potential employment moves, right? We're thinking about leaving one job and looking at two possibilities of new jobs in front of us, right? And we're talking about that, and that's sort of where we are in life and all of that. And she says to me, yeah, so I've been really worried this week. And I said, okay, what are you worrying about? Okay, well, I've been going on walks and thinking about stuff, and my head has been looping, I know. And sometimes I think I'm going to get job A for sure. Definitely going to get it, but I'm not going to get job B. And then some days I think to myself, no, I'm definitely going to get job B, but forget job A. I'm not going to get that. And some days, she says, I think about it to myself and I think I'm going to get neither job. And I just cycle. Okay. And all of a sudden, my head went ding, ding, ding. And here's what I said. I said, well, let me ask you something, right? I said, you're worrying about this, but I can tell you, I said, have you put your resume in to either of these places? No. I said, okay, well, you realize that if your resume is not in to either of these places, the answer is already no. And you're just wasting your energy worrying about what the possible outcomes are, because right now there's only one possible outcome, and that's no, right? So we need to get the resumes in, and then you have permission to worry about which job you're going to get. But until you get those resumes in, that's, you're wasting your energy on this thing that you need to be taking action on, right? And I said, it's like you put big old obstacles in front of yourself, right, when you do that. And so that's an example of a self-imposed challenge, right? You do others. And so, because there others would unfold. So I want to continue the story. So I have to get working on it, I guess. And I don't really know how to write resumes or what my resume to look like, and I'm really worried about it. And every time I sit down to do my resume, I can't get it done, and blah, 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 right? And I said, but wait. So what you're telling me is you're spending all this time worrying about this thing that isn't real because you haven't sent in a resume. And the reason you have your resume is because you think your resume isn't, think you can write a good one. Every time you sit down to fix it, it gives you a panic attack. All of these things, right? And you know what those are? Every single one of those is a self-imposed challenge. Thinking that you can't do something, sitting down to do it and finding it difficult, right? So that keeps you away from it. Not knowing how, or not knowing what the first step is, or what the end product is supposed to look like. All of those things, right? Those are self-imposed challenges because they all have solutions, right? And so I said, well, first of all, we're going to stop wasting the energy on worrying what job we're going to get. Instead, what we're going to do is think about these self-imposed challenges and how can we get rid of them, right? Because they're not real. Well, what do I tell you guys all the time, right? Delegate. It's an interdependent world. Just like you can hire someone for your taxes, you can hire someone to help you out with your resume, to write it. So if that is the obstacle that is in the way of possibly getting either one of these jobs, in order to get that obstacle cleared, what we need to do is get rid of all those little self-imposed obstacles that come before it, right? And if we hire someone to help us with that, right, those obstacles disappear, right? They're all of the buts, those self-imposed obstacles, right? They are all the, yeah, I was going to do that, but, or yes, I want to do that, but, or I tried to do that, but, or I've sat down, but, or but, right? All of those buts, right, are self-imposed challenges, They are excuses. And I didn't want to use that word because I feel like an excuse is something that's not real. These are real challenges, but you've just done them to yourself, right? And so the solution to every single part of this is, when we work our way backwards, to hire someone whose job it is to do resumes all day long, right? It's their job. And they can probably do it for relatively cheap. It's not like, and so is it worth all of those hours and days of worries and the definite answer of no to sit here and not hire someone to help you with the resume? Or do we hire somebody, right, and save the spoons? And so we're kind of, I recommended someone to do that, and we're kind of mid-process of that thing, so I don't know the outcome of it. But the idea of you guys being stuck, right? And when I say this, you know how I feel about being stuck, and you guys being stuck in particular. When I hear about you guys being stuck, and the reason you're stuck is that you are not clearing the way for yourself, right? Then I get like, okay, we can do, like, come on, you know better than this. At least if you've taken the course, you know better than that, right? And so I want you to think about that this week. I don't want to talk about it much further because I want you to remember clearly the example, and I want you to think about it in your life. I want you to go about thinking about the things that you want to do, and I want you to tell yourself what you would normally say. Would there be buts in there? I want to do this, but I want to do that, but, or I couldn't do this because I couldn't, because of this thing, because of that thing, right? And are they things that is not the outside world dumping them in your path, but are you throwing them out there in front of yourself, right? Are you setting the traps for yourself is the question. That's what I want to know, because I have a feeling that this one client is not the only one. I think there are, it's like a silent killer, these tiny self-imposed challenges, right? And I want you guys to think about them in your life, and I want you to think about where you trip on them. We will come back to this idea, and why I'm asking you about it, and my hidden agenda about it, is that I don't talk about it that specifically in the course, and I want to know if I need to. Do I need to include this idea of the self-imposed challenges that we lay for ourselves, that we lay in our own path? Does that need to be in the course very explicitly? And so what I would love to know is, do you guys deal with it? Do you have a solution for it? Are you even aware that it's happening when you do it? And do I need to cover it, right? Do we need to talk about it as a group? And it's not that I want you to punish yourself or be hard on yourself if you find that you do these things. I want you instead to see it as a habit that you've created to save yourself a lot of times, right? All of these coping mechanisms to protect ourselves, right? I want you to think about it that way and be kind to yourself for doing it. But I just want there to be a conscious awareness that you do it. Because how many things are we missing out on, or delaying, or letting the world decide for us because we're sitting on our asses, right? I'm going to catch up in chat for just a second, and then I will let us go. Let's see. Analyzing and tweaking and not yes. Okay. CV says I spend so much time analyzing and tweaking and not taking action steps. CV, it's a trap. It's a trap, right? You need to make your best choice, which isn't the right choice. We need to stop looking for things like the right choice or the right option, because they don't exist. So what you need to do is choose your best option and go with it. It's that step, the step that I talk about, the action step of stepping into the risk. That is the thing that I cannot do for you. That is the thing you must do for yourself. But once you take that step, you can put in all the tools, get to go in action, right? You have all the tools to go through trying something out, even if it becomes a mistake. So where is the hesitancy coming from, right? Why are we delaying? Why are we thinking about all these particulars and wasting all our energy ruminating instead of using that energy to take action on the things that we want, right? We really got to think about it. Really do. And Ross said, you usually do too, but today I made an exception and actually made a change. Go me. Go you. Exactly. We should all be celebrating, right? Because why? We're autistic and change is hard. We don't like change. Change means that we're creating a transition, and we don't do transitions well. So props to you, Ross, for saying, I know all of that, but still, I'm going to make this change because I know the end result will be better, right? Or my hopes are that the end result will be better. Because why? If I don't take that step, it'll just be the same. And I know I'm not happy in the same, right? So love that. So love that. Oh, good. Okay, Ross says yes, include it. I'm sorry, Joe. We can work on that, right? So let's talk about why we do that sometimes, right? Why we set up a schedule to do something and then throw it out or feel disappointed if we can't get to things, right? Part of it is being honest about your spoons, Joe. Part of it is saying, today's spoon, I would like to do that, and maybe on a day that I have all my spoons I could, but today I don't. And so what do I want to use my spoons for? Instead of looking at a to-do list as something you have to complete by a certain time and then feeling poorly that you didn't, instead what we need to do is assess how many spoons we have and adjust our list to our spoons. Does that make sense? Think about it. All right. Oh, thank you, CV. So CV said the end result feels permanent. It's helpful to witness you taking chances and changing the choices and tweaking along the way. That is the key, CV, right? Because no choice is permanent. We think that once we've decided that we're stuck, but you're never stuck. Okay? You have all of the potential you need, and you have all of the power that you need to say, okay, this didn't work. I know how to, I'm going to say it, get up well. I know how to get up well. I'm a resilient person, right? And it's okay if I make a mistake because I know how to recoup. And if I make a mistake, well, I've tried something that I know for sure doesn't work, right? I can exit off the list, right? And I can't think of a single thing that's permanent, right? Let me think about it. Let's really think about it. Even being a parent isn't permanent. The choice to be a parent, right? At any moment, God forbid, terrible things should happen to your child, but at any moment that could happen, right? And you're no longer a parent. So I can't think of a single thing in life that I would actually consider permanent. Maybe amputating a leg, but even these days we have like leg transplants, and we have all kinds of other. I can't think of the word for them, for the pieces right now because my brain is dead, but you know what I mean, right? So nothing. I can't think of a single thing that's permanent except for death. Death is permanent. I'll give you that, right? Other than death, no, right? And so stop thinking that. We need to stop thinking that each choice we're making is this permanent decision. It's not. It's like, I don't know, let me do A today. And if A doesn't work, I'll try out B tomorrow, right? It's like, I want us to, it's the building. It's that little bit of flexibility. It's like, oh, I'm going to make that choice. But if I don't like it, I have this much flexibility that I can make a change inside that. Does that make sense? It's all of the things we talk about. Yes, Ross. So learning to trust. Yes, CV. Sorry, I just read that. Impermanence is permanent. That is correct. If you can remember that when you make your choices, it won't feel so life and death, right? It shouldn't feel that way. Ross is saying learning to trust yourself and your decisions is a big part of being able to commit. Yes. And it's why we talk about it in Unit 1 of Self-Defined Living, right? Relearning to hear yourself, your gut, and trusting your gut. Relearning all of that and knowing that it's still there and knowing that you haven't used it in a really long time, right? We talk about that. And that's the reason, right? Because we need to regain the trust in ourselves. We need to know that our gut isn't lying to us and that we are capable of making good decisions, right? And the only way to show that to ourselves is to make some goddamn decisions and let them go right. But if we sit on the fence and don't make any decisions, we'll never know whether we're good or bad at decision making. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're better now. You've grown. You've made the effort to make these awarenesses. So come on now, right? Start practicing, right? Get out there and live. This is the living. The mistakes are the living. Do you get it? Like making the mistakes and taking the risks is the living. That's it. That's life. When we watch it go by because we're too busy analyzing it, that's not life. That's observation. And observation isn't living. Living is an action word, right? So I want to make sure that we're going to leave on that note because I really like that. I just like that. In fact, I might go back and watch myself talk about this very end piece, right? This is so important. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm going to get going because I am almost out of time before I have to go running to change my shirt. I hope that you guys found today's Being Becca Live really helpful, useful, and I thank you guys so much for spending some time with me, for sharing your spoons with me, for having this important conversation with me, right? Because we need to get out of our own fucking way. Half the time, that's the biggest autistic problem in the world, is that we're in our own fucking way, too busy listening to everybody else instead of listening to ourselves. And with that, I say, get out there. Love you too, Joe. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad you found it helpful, CV. Me neither, CV. CV was talking about the 90 days as reviewing your employer. And let me tell you, if it comes to be a conversation for me, I have a list. I have things that I think could be done better and things that I take issue with. It's whether or not that list, right, is bigger than what wants to keep me there. Anyway, lots of stuff. Love you guys so much. So grateful for all of you. Right back at you, CV. Tons of hearts coming at you. This time is really important for me and for you and for us. So we stay in touch and we stay up to date with each other, but also we'll remember to talk about those things and find the missing pieces of self-defined living and remember the parts that are important of it, because for some of you, God, you guys, it's been over a year for some of you since you've taken the course. More than almost a year and a half. Isn't that crazy? The things that I've seen you guys do in that year and a half, though, whatevs. Goosebumps. I just gave myself goosebumps. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. As always, I love hearing your comments, so please feel free to leave them wherever you're watching this video. Your thumbs up and thumbs down let me know if the content is on point or I have work to do, so I would appreciate that. More than anything, I appreciate your share so we can get more people on the channel and more people thinking like us. It would be awesome. And here's my reminder. If you are interested in taking Self-Defined Living live, it will begin in September with me. It's going to be 3 months long in September, starting in September. There are 3 units. The wait list is open now. Registration will open shortly. If you want to be guaranteed a seat, please email me at info@beccalaurie.com. Also can email me there if you need a scholarship, if you want to know the dates, if you need to know the price, or you can head over to my website, beccalaurie.com, and you can find out under the Self-Defined Living tab all you need to know about the course. But please let me know. And if you need a scholarship because you're struggling with financial hardship, I do give out a limited number of those. So email me with that information as well, because that starts in September. And that was my last reminder. I guess I will see you guys out and about on the interwebs. Get out in the world and seek joy, create joy, and share joy, all the joys. And I will see you on Sunday for the next Growing Gratitude. And then, of course, I'll be back next Wednesday with the next Being Becca Live. Until then, you guys have a good one. Bye.